This is where Nephi says the words he's most well known for. I will go and do the things which the Lord hath commanded. For I know that the Lord giveth no commandments unto the children of men, save he shall prepare a way for them to accomplish the things which he commandeth them. Nephi gets back from talking with the Lord and goes straight to his father's tent. Lehi lets him know that the Lord has been communicating with him as well. In fact, the Lord gave Lehi a dream, instructing him to have his sons pack up and make the trek straight back to Jerusalem. Their purpose is to get a set of brass plates from a powerful man named Laban. These plates are important for two reasons. One, they contain a record that's been kept by the Jews. It includes the writings of Moses and Isaiah and many other sacred writings, including some of the prophecies of their local prophet Jeremiah. It's important to note that this record would have contained the only known non-perishable hard copy of the Pentateuch, as other records would have been written on various types of perishable surfaces. 2, it also contains Lehi's family history. As we'll learn later, Lehi is from the tribe of Joseph of Egypt, through Joseph's son Manasseh. This will play in later. Laban is also a descendant of Joseph, which would be one reason he had possession of these plates. It is likely that Laban was also a descendant of Joshua, who would have received these writings directly from Moses as his successor. Both these sacred writings and their genealogy will be crucial for Lehi's family and their descendants. They'll help them remember who they are and where they came from. Can you imagine heading out to an unknown destination to set up a brand new colony, but not having the scriptures or a historical record containing the laws of God to his people to help your descendants remember who they are, where they came from, and what is required of them? Laman and Lemuel start complaining as usual. But Lehi reminds his sons that the commandment has come not from him, but from the Lord. As for Sam, we're not sure what he's thinking, but he goes along too. He seems to be somewhat of an invisible middle child. You know, the one who doesn't cause any problems, doesn't talk much, and who is often mentioned almost as an afterthought. In spite of his older son's bad attitudes, Lehi is confident that God's favor will be with Nephi because he chooses not to complain. This is where Nephi says the words he's most well known for. I will go and do the things which the Lord hath commanded. For I know that the Lord giveth no commandments unto the children of men, save he shall prepare a way for them to accomplish the things which he commandeth them. Lehi is overjoyed to hear Nephi's response to God's words. And Nephi knows that his willing attitude didn't come from himself. The state of his heart showed that he had been blessed of the Lord. It was God who was working in Nephi's heart, making it soft and receptive and confident in him, because Nephi knew in whom he had trusted. Nephi and his brothers head back to Jerusalem, a journey of more than a week, possibly even 2 or 3 since they were likely traveling with camels. They have plenty of time to think about the difficulty of the task ahead. Nephi describes them going up to the land of Jerusalem. Up because Jerusalem is higher than the area surrounding it. And as for the land of Jerusalem, Joseph Smith was criticized because the phrase isn't found in the Bible. However, the phrase was discovered decades later in ancient Middle Eastern texts such as the Dead Sea Scrolls and tablets from Amarna, Egypt. Another point for the Book of Mormon. The 4 brothers cast lots to see who should go in and talk to Laban. Casting lots was a way of discerning the will of God when making decisions. The lot falls to Laman, the eldest. It makes me wonder why God chose Laman. We see Nephi leading out a lot through the course of his family's story, but here God gives Laman an opportunity to take the lead. Perhaps he was giving Laman a chance to be tested and see how he handled the difficult situation ahead of him. Laman starts well. He has enough courage to go talk to Laban at his house. I can imagine the scene. Hi, Laban. Would you mind giving me this important and valuable record? It's a pretty bold and presumptuous question. Well, Laban is in no mood to share his prized family heirloom. He accuses Laban of being a robber, throws him out, and threatens to kill him. At this point, Laban is guilty of bearing false witness. After narrowly escaping death and coming back empty-handed, Laman and his brothers are all understandably depressed. Some of the brothers want to turn back, but Nephi declares, As the Lord liveth and as we live, we will not go down unto our father in the wilderness until we have accomplished the thing which the Lord hath commanded us. He reminds his older brothers that if they give up now, they won't have a record to preserve their language for their children. And more importantly, their children won't have a full record of the words of the prophets. Since Plan A has failed, they start working on Plan B. Go back to their family estate, gather all of their riches, go to Laban's house, and barter with him. 1 set of brass plates for a merchant's entire collection of gold and silver treasures. Fair trade, right? Laban is sure to see the wealth and say, yes, please. But that's not how Laban works. Instead, he throws them out, sends his armed men to kill them because dead men tell no tales, and he confiscates all of their property. At this point, Laban is now guilty of bearing false witness, covetousness, theft, and attempted murder. Thankfully, the 4 brothers are protected by God. They manage to outrun their pursuers and hide in a cave in the desert wilderness. This latest failure is the last straw for Laban and Lemuel. From the start, they thought the whole flee into the wilderness plan was idiotic, and they probably hoped their father would come to his senses and return home. Their hearts were set on the comfortable lifestyle they'd left behind, but now there was nothing to return to. Laban and Lemuel unleash on their goody-goody younger brothers and smite them with a rod. Suddenly, they're interrupted by the appearance of an angel who asks them why they're hitting their younger brother. Don't they know that their own bad choices have caused the Lord to choose him over them? The angel tells them to go back to Jerusalem, and this time God is going to hand Laban over to them. We typically think of angels as shining beings who can stand in the air, and they certainly can appear this way. But Laban and Lemuel are only slightly fazed by this encounter. It makes me wonder if the angel might have appeared like a normal human being who then walked away. After all, Hebrews 13:2 urges us to be hospitable to strangers since it's possible to entertain angels without knowing it. Either way, these 2 delinquents go right back to complaining. Their lack of understanding of who God is becomes more evident. When it comes to God versus Laban and his 50 men, they place their bets on Laban. We can contrast their philosophy with the prophet Elisha's in 2 Kings chapter 6. Elisha and his servant are surrounded by an army ready to take them captive. His servant worries, "What should we do?" But Elisha reassures him, saying, "Don't worry. They that be with us are more than they that be with them." God then opens the young man's eyes so he can see that they're surrounded by a heavenly armed host to protect them. God is all-powerful. Like Nephi said, when the Lord explains his will to us, he always prepares a way for us to carry it out. It may not be easy, but with him, all things are possible. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He is our hope.